tuning in to the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Stuck in the middle. Hey. Hello, everyone. Welcome to AfterBuzz TV. This is the after show for Grace and Frankie on Netflix. We are wrapping up episode 2, season 1. It's hard, it's weird because it's like this first season, but it's Netflix, so it's like different. But anyway, this episode is called The Credit Cards. I'm your host, Lauren Leonello. You can find me at Lauren Leonello on all of the things, Twitter, Facebook, Vine, Instagram, and my website. And with me, I have my lovely co-host today. We are welcoming...
Hello, I'm Jenifer Golden.
Yay, she's here!
Yay, thank you guys. You're the best. You are the best.
No, you the best.
Well, okay, thanks then. And you can find me on all the things at Jenifer Golden, except Instagram, Jen the Jew. Yes,
that's
it's
right,
really Jen the Jew.
Mm-hmm.
That is fun.
Thanks.
And over here we have...
I'm Lauren Lograsso. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at LoloLogro. That's at LOLOLOGRO. And I'm at Facebook.com/Lauren Lograsso. Went for the full name there.
And she's a singer, so you should watch her little
she's
snippets.
really good.
Do it. Let's be friends.
Well, lastly, hi, I'm Jillian Fleischman.
But not least.
And you can find me on Twitter at Jill_Fleischman and Instagram at Jillian Fleischman.
All right, guys. Well, now that we are all here. Oh, and also you can follow us on Two Drunk Girls on all of the, I don't know,
all
you
the
rattle
things.
them off better than me.
All the things except YouTube is Two Drunk Girls TV, and so is Snapchat.
Because when you look YouTube Two Drunk Girls, something else happens.
Oh.
So...
Did you figure that out the hard way?
Oh, kind of. Anyway, speaking of drunk people, they drink a lot on the show. We need to be drinking. Like I said that last time that I was going to bring wine, and I did.
And we wanted to try that ice cream concoction.
Oh, yeah.
We need to try that with the alcohol.
Was it bourbon?
the root beer float or whatever that was.
Yeah,
that
but
was
it
more.
But more alcoholic.
Yeah, it was like Jack Daniels and vanilla ice cream or
Yeah.
something. How good
Good
is
combo.
that? I mean,
It sounds amazing.
Yeah, I
Don't
think
tempt
we
me with a good time.
Yeah.
I like that in this episode they were like doing the peyote.
they always do that. Well, that was the first episode.
That was.
This one had weed in the freezer.
Yeah.
This,
we did the
okay,
first
you know what? I watched them back to back, and of course I'm behind.
What everybody does that though, so we're saying that
Right.
you know we get that you guys have probably binged watched the show because it's really good, but we're taking them episode by episode. We might switch it up a little and do 2 at a time, but we'll keep you posted on that. But right now we're going to do the credit cards episode. So basically, there's a couple things that happened in this episode. We saw like a few things going on. I feel like it was. With the husbands, them trying to find like the balance between what they would do professionally and what they would do personally, because
Right,
they're
yeah.
divorce lawyers, so they're like, this is what we would tell our clients to do, but at the end of the day it's different because it's their lives. So
Yeah.
we watched that kind of happen. What did you guys think about that, them cutting the credit cards off?
Well, just like Grace and Frankie are so different, Robert and Saul are so different.
From each other, yeah.
Yeah, because Robert is a very hardline guy who said, do what I would normally do. But Saul is very emotional, and he feels bad doing it. But
Yeah.
we were talking before, I find it so interesting that Robert convinced Saul to go against Frankie.
Yeah.
I didn't
Brainwash
really think that he
station.
would.
I mean,
Goodness.
that's kind of what happens when you like start dating someone seriously, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'll do whatever you say. Who does
And-
that? I don't do that.
Yeah, I've never done that. But then now they're a unit, so now they have to make those decisions as
Right.
married couples would. But these people are now like in their own relationship, so they're making decisions together. So if one does it, the other has to do it.
Right.
So I get why he probably swayed toward, what his man was saying.
And maybe it was easier for them to take the emotion out of it and just be like, this is like, you go into like autopilot, like this is what we do. Like if you get a divorce, you do A, B, and C, and then these things follow. Like maybe he just was like, because we know that these guys are not like emotionless. I mean, we've seen them on the first episode. They had a really like touching scene together where they're like, oh, we're really happy. And so it's not that I think maybe, I don't know, I'm going with it. They were just on autopilot.
I think they were, but I think they didn't account for their humanity taking such precedence over the logical thing to do.
Right.
And I would think in a normal divorce, it's kind of two-sided where, the man and the woman are both thinking about, moving on. And I think Grace and Frankie were both so shocked by what they just found out that they weren't even in the zone yet of hiring a divorce lawyer or anything like that.
Yeah, it happened
what
so
made
fast.
it so shocking.
Yeah.
1 week, they said.
I think it's because, we'll find out more hopefully, Robert and Grace weren't connected for so long that he had already moved on and was ready.
And I think that these men have been living this life for a while. They've adjusted.
Right.
They've been doing it. And then,
they're just ready to get the ball going.
Yeah, everyone else it's a shock too, but them.
They've already been way in the future with all this for a long time.
Which is funny because then that moment where Saul is talking to Frankie and he's like, well, we weren't really ready to move in together yet. Because she's like, get out of my house. You're not allowed here. I was like, well, what are you waiting for?
Right, because they want to get married, so how can they not be ready to move in together?
Exactly.
I just thought that was such a jerk move. Even though he's really sweet. I'm sorry, I know you have a crush on him.
I love Sam Waterston. I don't have to love the character on the show.
That's true. Good that you can separate. It's harder
Although
for some.
he dresses so different than Robert. He dresses so artsy.
Oh, yeah.
It's great.
Totally. Oh, my gosh. It's so funny to see how... That I feel like that was another thing that was going along with one of the major topics of this episode, which was watching these men try and battle with their personal and professional lives. And then I think that also it really showed with every character, and it's almost it seems like for one character there's an exact opposite. So for the two sisters, and we got to really dive into the sibling relationships in this show too, they're so different. And the two brothers are so different, and then them four together are all so different. It's everyone has a polar opposite. I thought it really was prevalent in this episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that the whole entire episode, from beginning to end, obviously, was very mirroring of a couple and a couple. It's in the morning they started out in bed, and then in the morning Grace and Frankie didn't know what to do. They were going crazy, and then it's what do their days back and forth of seeing people who are happy and people who are adjusting and and mirroring. I thought that brought that.
That's
out.
a good point, and I did like that we were getting to see. I mean, we know obviously just physically and from seeing the first episode that Grace and Frankie are so opposite. I mean, Frankie is the biggest hippie free spirit, and Grace is so wound tight and neurotic. But I liked here that the little ways they show it. And everyone is comparing this to The Odd Couple, which is a very cliched thing to do. But I think that the creators and writers behind the show, and Marta's so creative, that I think that the way that they make it come out, the way it surfaces is funny. For example, the part where I think they were at the Malibu house and Frankie invited her friends over.
Yeah.
And Grace was like, "What? There's people coming over." I was like, do you not ever have people?
Right, she was allergic to human beings.
Trying to hide and calling her daughter, people are here, I have to go upstairs.
She's like, can you believe she invited people to my house?
Yes, it was there's so many different ways to show their differences, but that was so funny to me. And then, I have to say this, I just love that they dropped the F-bomb so much on this show.
Oh, yeah.
And when when Frankie's friend walked in, she's like, you look terrible, fuck. She just said it just to say it. It didn't even need to be there.
I have to point out, we did have our first guest star. For anybody who's a Scandal fan, that was
Rowan.
Papa Pope.
Papa Pope. I heard his voice on the phone.
Yeah, I'm with you, Lauren.
And I go, Rowan?
Yeah, right. And I just said,
Wait, who was that? For people who don't watch Scandal, because I don't know what you're talking about.
He plays Olivia Pope's dad on Scandal, and he's the biggest
the male friend who came over.
Yes. Okay, got it.
So what's his character on Scandal, and
he's
how
a
does it
huge
differ
villain.
from the... Oh, really?
He is so bad and evil and terrible. Anybody who's watching Scandal now will find it very interesting because the cliffhanger at the end made it seem like he's not going to last for
he was so fun. He was the fun gay friend.
Right.
Which is what's
the
so amazing.
opposite.
By the way, he won an Emmy for his guest starring on Scandal.
Oh, gosh.
So he's
either an Emmy or Golden Globe.
They have this show is just chock full of good actors.
It is.
Yeah.
But okay, so you guys were all excited about that. I had no idea. I was this guy's fun. I want to go shopping with him.
That's why I had to point it out, because I don't know if the demographics are the same for this show versus Scandal.
I think it could probably be pretty close.
But he's pretty
There he
great.
is.
Wow.
Hello.
Technology.
I love him.
See, he either looks really nice or really mean. You
But
can't
you
tell.
don't know. He's both.
He could flip.
Listen, he looks like he's going, I'm listening to your problems about your boyfriend. Or it looks like he's going, I will fucking cut you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Excuse my French.
That's why he's
He
such a
may
good
kill
actor.
us.
Yep.
Yeah.
He probably
I
will.
mean, you just don't
But
know
he
what
might
you're
tuck
going to
us into bed, too. You
might.
don't know. It could flip on a dime.
You don't know. I like that those are the two
Bing
options.
bang.
might tuck
Keeps
you.
you guessing.
Dude, I love it. But those little parts of the show like really get me, like where she dropped the F-bomb for no reason.
Oh,
yeah.
And then they're at,
Yes.
so they go to the restaurant, and of course, going back to the whole point of the show, their credit cards are cut off. Like obviously, you know that when Frankie tries to give hers, it's cut off, or Grace tried to do it first,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she knew.
She knew, and then you knew it was going to happen to poor Frankie. You're
But
like,
Frankie had no idea.
You hoped it wouldn't, because you hoped that their relationship at least had a little bit more respect in it.
Yeah.
But when it was, it made me so disappointed in Saul.
I know.
Yeah.
So-
I get why they did it. It makes sense.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
why does the man have to cut the woman's off? Like the woman could cut the man's credit card off. But at the same time, like you freeze your assets.
Yeah.
These people have been married for so long.
Right.
Their assets are
Yeah.
so intermingled. Like, why
Yeah.
is one person the decision maker on when we freeze? And
Well,
I agree.
yeah, you're right. I'm thinking two things with that. One is that they were the breadwinners.
Right, but then what does Jane Fonda do?
No, that's right.
This brought up a lot of questions.
Yes.
Not Jane Fonda, Grace.
Grace.
What does Grace do? Because we saw her face on a box of natural hair care products that we thought it was, at least.
Yeah.
So she's got some sort of
She
business.
does.
and she said people know her.
Right. So she's got some
She
sort
does
of
have
clout
something.
in the community. This episode in particular brought up a lot of questions for me.
Like what?
So what's the relationship? Like what happened between Jane Fonda, Grace's son, or Frankie's son, and Grace's daughter?
Okay, we're getting
What
to that.
happened
Yeah.
Let's
this
get to that.
episode brought
I
up
want
so
to
many
know
questions.
why Grace and Frankie never liked each other. They obviously
Right,
spent
right.
so much time together all these years.
Yeah.
They have a house that they share. Also, I really have a question about why Grace thinks that house is more hers than Frankie's.
Well, it's just because she thinks everything is hers, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
A little
I
bit of
also want to
entitlement.
know what happened between Grace and Robert that makes them have zero emotion.
Yeah, that's true. There's so much to be uncovered, but we predicted,
Yeah.
or we talked about it last time in predictions, that we're going to discover that I think that there was a thing that happened between Grace and Frankie. I don't think it's just that they never really got along because they're so different. I think that there was like a issue.
I would guess that
So
would
do
be
you
the case.
think the issue is between her daughter Mallory and her son?
Maybe it could be again, like going back and forth between like A and B topic line. A lot of Brooklyn, remembering their characters'
Mal.
names. Mal and the sister with the short hair.
Bree.
Bree.
So, okay, Mal is the one with the addiction problems. Yes. No, Brooklyn Decker's the woman.
Yeah, Brooklyn
Yeah.
Decker is the one that was
Mallory.
popping pills.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, Mallory.
Yeah. So, we're seeing her. I feel like the popping the pills and all of that. It's like she's not happy.
She's
in her life.
overwhelmed.
She's overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And she's also kind of like on her husband the whole time, which we'll get to. The husband.
Oh, he's a hunk.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that. And then obviously the two boys are totally different. Like one's very not Coyote, but the other brother.
I don't remember his name.
I don't know.
Wait, you wrote it down, didn't you?
Did I? Hold on.
Well, excuse us.
Bud.
Bud. Bud is very like buttoned up, and Coyote is clearly.
I think
A coyote.
I think
He's
Bud
just
works
racing
at the
out.
law firm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it seemed he was advising his
Yes.
dad and his dad's new lover.
Right. So
Who he calls uncle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he obviously grew up with
they
them.
all grew up
Yeah.
together.
Incest.
It makes sense.
And
until
so-
your parents.
Right.
And then
leave for each other.
so usually it's the other way, like it's the wives and the husbands, but hey, it's 2015.
Exactly.
So yeah, I liked getting to dive into those characters a little more because there's only so much you can really talk about Grace and Frankie. They obviously have their lives and their families, and everybody's really involved in this. So it's interesting to see that, and then we get to the point where we know something happened between Mal and Coyote.
Something big.
And
Yeah.
I don't have a prediction about that, but we will save that. But there's definitely something going on for sure, like something major, I think.
What we know is that the last time they saw each other before he went to rehab, there was an issue with a car.
And something about him screaming on the
her
front lawn and calling the
Right.
police.
And he didn't even know what he said, so he was
He was probably
far
yelling
gone.
Stella.
Yeah, they said the Stanley Kowalski experience
Yeah.
or
So maybe
whatever.
he was yelling
Yeah.
Mallory.
But
Yeah.
that made me think that they had some sort of connection.
Yeah, they have to.
They have to.
Some
Yeah.
sort of love connection.
And then I thought it was interesting that they decided to have the husband come in.
Right. That's
For
a big
the
clue.
1 minute of the show that Jeff Stoltz was on, we saw him come in right there, and then we saw him berate her berate him, and then him go, okay, I'm so sorry, and like
why
drive
was
away.
he so submissive?
It's like, first of all, you're that hot and you're a doctor. Hi, I would be like, hello, darling. I have a drink ready for you. I'd be
Right.
like in a French
Dinner's on
maid's
the table.
outfit. Hello. So we know Jeff. He's a
Yeah.
friend of ours. And we were very surprised to see him.
We actually
I was like, Jeff is on. We wanted to get him.
him
Maybe
on.
Jeff we're going to try and get Jeff.
He's out of the country right now. He's building houses in Malawi.
Yeah.
Oh, of course he
Wait,
is.
so that makes him so much
And-
uglier. Though.
yeah,
I'm not
I know.
into him now.
Right? I hate guys that do good for the people that
And
need
he's
help.
like, yeah,
Check off my list. Do-gooder.
I know.
Good. Well, he'll have to fly in for our after show.
He will.
Yeah.
We will get Jeff
Good
Stoltz.
Better be here soon.
But yeah, I thought that was a little interesting timing to have him come in and then leave right there. So it's just all feeling like there's something going on there. But we know this though. Brooklyn Decker doesn't really have very much more.
Yeah, when I was
Episode
looking up,
time.
I think she's only on 3 episodes, and I could be wrong, but she's been on 2. But
So she's running out.
I think that we have so many questions from this episode because things are starting to connect
Unravel,
in
yeah.
a way, you know, where it's a possible love triangle, and it's just all these things are happening.
I know, and I'm so excited. I feel like there's just so much happening.
I mean, the thing is, we could possibly, watch the next episode.
I was just thinking
but
that.
I know, well,
I was just thinking that.
I'm just holding back because I'm
I know.
trying to not get ahead of myself because then it becomes confusing. I mean, you said you
Yeah.
watched them back to back and
Right.
you're like, wait a minute.
they became the same It was like a continuation.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Netflix
it
is so
does.
genius in the way that, like, it's seamless.
Totally.
The only reason you know that it's a different episode is the credits that roll.
Yeah.
Right.
But if they didn't roll the credits, it would be
It would be a movie.
4-hour movie.
It would be like a long feature film.
Yeah.
I agree.
Which
It's
I
healthier this way. I
She
feel
said that.
emotionally and mentally healthier, not going straight through.
Right.
Because you literally go on a bender, and then it's the most exciting thing in the world, and it's the most depressing thing in the world when you get done. It's like,
Yeah.
I have nothing left. I just went through all of those.
It's the high and then the low, the high and the low. Nobody
an
wants
addiction.
that.
Low.
low grow.
The low,
High, low grow.
It's like you're.
I was on the right track.
That was good. It's like you're falling in love and then broken up with.
Yeah, in a weekend.
Right.
It's too much.
Yeah.
It burns out real quick.
It's hard. The struggle is real, everyone.
It's so good. It
The
burns
struggle,
so
the struggle is real.
It is.
I hope we get to see more of Jeff Stoltz. He's a fine piece of ass.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, he's a nice guy.
well, that doesn't matter. Oh, yes,
He's
it
easy
does.
on the eyes.
He
That's more
so
important.
is easy. On
Hope
the
he doesn't
eyes.
watch this.
Yeah, well, he's building a house right now. I'm
True,
pretty
I don't
sure
think he's
we're
got
good.
internet.
He's probably live streaming us right now, actually.
And if you
while he
are,
builds.
Jeff, call me. We can double date.
The two of you and him?
Well, he has a brother.
Oh, perfect.
We're friends with
Okay.
him too.
Wow.
Maybe we could have him come on.
Guys,
George, let's have
introduce
him-
us to some of your friends.
Wait, guys, this is like another comedy that
This
Netflix
is-
can produce.
This
Right.
totally is. I think that
yeah.
we should have George come in lieu of Jeff.
Okay.
Do they look alike?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. He should just pretend to be him. Then.
George
Did you
has
guys
a,
ever watch Seventh Heaven?
yeah, they were the
Yes.
brothers on
Those two.
Seventh Heaven.
Oh my gosh.
We're talking just about Jeff and George Stoltz now.
Wait,
This
I
is
like
not-
that.
This
Yeah,
is
and a
such good
different show
publicity.
Wait,
altogether.
I'm gonna try and watch it tonight to refresh my memory even
And-
more.
And also, he was in the episode for 35 seconds. So, but it was good though. It was an important part of the episode though.
Right,
To going
right.
back on it, it really was to me. Besides the fact that I was like, oh, there's Jeff. It was very that part of the episode. I think because all of the other things are just like long through lines that we're going to see the whole time. We're going to watch Grace and Frankie butt heads and be so different, but we're going to watch them bond and come together. I thought that it was a really interesting part where at the very end, Frankie was crying and Grace was just like, I put food in the fridge for you. Like she wants to take care of her, but she can't be there emotionally. It's just like she's not there yet.
Yeah.
It takes her a second to unwind and do those things because she's so neurotic, I think. So it was nice to see that through line continue to happen, but then we get those other specific moments with the kids.
Yeah, I like that. To me, it felt like some of the roles were reversed when Grace was talking to Robert. She was very emotional. And then
Yes.
Frankie talking to Saul was you're invisible to me. Get out. It was like a
you know
role.
what? I didn't even pick up on that, but you're absolutely right.
They probably all have a little bit of like the same elements in each other, and I think that is probably what does bring them together.
Yeah. Well, that happened before Grace was in the kitchen saying, I bought her food, and I was saying, oh, now she's starting to care about her. Now she's starting to actually see her as the person that she needs to get through this difficult time.
And that's the only way she can take care of her. She's not going to sit down and like talk about it with her and cry with her yet. Right. She's just going to do these other little things. So,
I mean, she did take her in at the end of the episode. Right. So.
Yeah, she did, but she followed it by saying, I hate my life. Right. So it's like, that's just how she's going to do it. But deep down she cares, and that's what's going to pull them together in the end. But it's funny to watch them navigate.
Yeah. By the way, my favorite line of the night was when Bree says, let's drink at my house so I can walk home. Did you like that one?
Oh, yeah, I liked that one. I like when Grace handed Frankie the keys and said, I'm 2 drinks deep. But my favorite line of the episode was when the sisters were walking. She's like, can't you just show her that you care? Or isn't that, you only text her. That's not showing her you care, isn't it? Or something. And she goes, ish. And that I thought was funny.
The writing is so good. It was the show. There's so many.
Yeah. And, of course, she did say, like, texting is the new calling.
Right. Yeah.
Boys, not true.
No, a call goes so far.
So far.
Yeah. There's nothing like that voice-to-voice action.
Yeah, especially if you have a nice, deep, manly voice.
Call us right now. Just kidding.
Yes. Or you can. It's 424-256-1729.
Do it.
Whoa. That's a Django.
Steven, do you like how I remembered that phone number? I mean,
what if he's like, it's not?
I feel like
I'm pretty surprised.
It was right? I got it right?
No, you got it right.
Hello.
I don't think I ever knew it.
Well,
you could probably say it every episode and I still won't know.
Well, that's okay. You're pretty.
Thanks.
Okay, well, I think that we kind of like talked about everything. We've got a lot of questions. We'll talk about predictions, but I think we're going to do some news and gossip. Let's do it.
AfterBuzz TV News.
All right, hey guys, here is your weekly news and gossip for AfterBuzz TV show for Grace and Frankie. Jane Fonda and breast pumping. Yeah, I bet you were a little confused about that one, but you heard it right, kids. Jane Fonda is a really big advocate for breast pumping and like women's rights, as we've heard other things about her and the equal opportunity pay and all of that. So June Diane Raphael, who plays the oldest daughter, it just had a baby, a newborn, and she was even late for the table read because it was just so hard for her to like try and get this together and pump and do all of these things at the same time, because you have to pump every like 3 hours and it's really difficult. So Jane Fonda, June said she felt like so good about having Jane Fonda on her side, being an out advocate for breast pumping and trying to find somewhere in a workplace that's like sanitary and allows you to do it when you need to do it. It's really stressful, and she said she felt really good about having Jane by her side, and Jane is a really big advocate, and she said that it's just so, she was quoted saying that to have my boss in my corner, it was just incredible and really helpful. So it was nice to see. I think it was nice to know that.
I'm surprised you have to like be an advocate for breast pumping.
Yeah, because don't they explode if you don't do it?
Well, you get engorged and it's very painful. Like you have to release somehow.
Jane is so great.
Yeah.
Jane.
Did you see her on the Cannes red carpet this week?
I didn't. What happened?
Killing it.
She always looks good.
In this skin tight blue cutout Versace dress.
Ugh.
Unbelievable.
She's so beautiful. I think
it's like she doesn't age.
She's just like, I love her.
I think she stays the same age. Like she was cryogenically frozen as this particular
and she doesn't
age.
look like plastic at all.
No. But she has they're doing all this press. She was on Watch What Happens Live this week.
Yes, I saw that.
And Nancy Cohen's like, do you do anything? She's like, yes, I've done work on my face, but you can't tell, right?
It's just it seems very minimal. Like she looks good to me.
Right.
Yeah, she didn't overdo it.
No, not at all.
And I love that she admits it, too, because there's nothing worse when someone's gotten something done and they're like, no, this is the way I am.
Yeah.
It's like, admit it, admit that you look awesome, and let's run with it.
With a bandage on their nose. They're still saying
exactly.
That.
They're like, no.
Who cares?
Speaking of beautiful people, do we think that Brooklyn Decker had any work done?
I don't think so.
No, I mean, she was gorgeous in Sports Illustrated.
She looks natural to me.
She's really gorgeous.
Now she's pregnant.
Yeah,
she's
fun in the oven.
She's married to Andy Roddick.
Andy Roddick.
She pumps.
I would guess
she's going to need to pump because
she's tweeting about vaginas.
She is tweeting about vaginas.
Because on an upcoming episode they deal with this topic, and so a few weeks ago Brooklyn tweeted #vaginal dryness. So if you're wondering about that, the reason is because it's coming up on an episode of Grace and Frankie. So we'll have to find out what that is all about.
Hey, look, these women, they are really strong women. It is not surprising to me that badass Marta Kaufman has surrounded surrounded herself with these really strong women. They're, like I said, they're talking about equal pay. They're talking about vaginal dryness. They're just going for it. They don't really care. And they're letting themselves act like, open, free women, and they're not apologizing about it, and I like it. So we're really excited to see what's going to keep happening on the show, on and off the set, right?
And they support each other, which is huge.
All right. Yes, they do. And so you guys, make sure you stay tuned next week for some more dish on Grace and Frankie, and that was your AfterBuzz TV news and gossip. Yeah. And now we're doing predictions.
And now,
that's what that is.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Whoa. I have a really good prediction. I think that we're going to see like a more intimate love scene between the men. I think that's coming. I think this is the type of show that's going to do that. And then also, I think that Mal and Coyote, like we talked about, we're going to find out that they were in love with each other or dating each other before. I don't think that anyone had an affair, but I think that they were dating each other or about to get married or something before she met hot Jeff Stoltz.
Yes.
And married him.
And maybe his addictions broke them up.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's why he rolled up the window and drove away. He was like, I can't deal with this guy.
How long were they? I mean, I don't know. Coyote had to have been in rehab for a very long time if he just came back.
Yeah, she didn't know he was out, so.
Yeah, maybe it was like 3 months or something.
I'm so sorry, but can we just go back to one little thing that happened in the
of
episode?
course.
Okay, I was talking with her about this right before the show started. What do you think about what Jane Fonda said to Coyote by the fridge when she was like, well, she'd have to be strong
to put
with
up
everything
with you.
you've put. Like, do you think that's just like something she said, or do you think she was trying to dig into him?
I think she said because she actually does care about Frankie.
Yeah.
And she feels for her as a mother, and her son put her through a lot.
I think with addiction like that, when you're going to rehab, it's all very open. Their families are close, and I think she just called it like she saw it.
Yeah, her personality is very straightforward.
Dry,
So,
yeah.
so I don't think that she says things, like, that's just her term of, like, endearment, you know?
Yeah, I also don't think she overstepped, because if some of the kids are calling them aunts and uncles.
Yeah, I think,
Right.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
So she has the right to say that.
My aunts and uncles would have no issues being like, no.
yeah,
so
like,
right.
you messed up.
Right.
Yeah.
This is actually a perfect segue into my prediction.
Okay.
Because I think because she's so cold, she's going to have a love interest that's going to warm her up. That's
agree.
my
That'd be
so
prediction.
nice.
I like that.
Me too.
She needs
That's
someone.
cute.
She deserves it.
Well, and
Agreed.
we were talking last week, not that I did my homework to figure out who the guest stars are, because I want to be surprised, but I think that could be somebody really big, too.
Totally.
Yeah.
So-
Ooh,
Yeah.
who could it be?
Everyone's going to be big, I think,
know.
on this show. And I agree with that prediction. I was thinking about that today while getting ready, that I think that we're going to see Grace and Frankie date and what that is like for them at this age.
Because they deserve that.
Yeah, that's
They
probably
deserve
where
it.
their vaginal
I was
dryness
going to
comes
say
in.
that. They're going to be talking about vaginal dryness and how
they're
to remedy
older
that
ladies.
situation.
They're older ladies.
Apparently, you use yam lube.
Yeah.
What?
Sounds
You
natural.
know, they wanted to make a show about what
The
it's
more,
like.
the more you know. Yam lube.
They wanted to make a show about what it's like to be an older woman.
Dating.
So
Dating.
I'm actually
Yeah.
glad that they're going to talk about
The
it.
divorce rate is like higher than ever. This is a real thing, guys.
Listen, Netflix knows all. They hit the mark with getting this demographic now. So
Yes.
they're going to touch on everything that demographic goes through.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really funny.
Lauren, do you have a prediction?
I think we're going to find out more about Grace's career.
Yes.
what she's
I would
done.
love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we need to because
Necessary.
that's why I was so confused when the credit card thing happened. I'm like, doesn't she have her own money?
Yeah.
And I think that we're also going to find out more about the kids' relationships
Yes.
and the relationship. Also, how Frankie and Saul came upon having an African American son. That
Yes.
is a story I want to hear.
I think we will get into that. I'm hoping that we will. We all have this. I think we all collectively agree that this episode was very much like bringing up a lot of questions.
Yes.
Planting seeds. For
So
sure.
it makes you want to watch more.
The train has been turned
Absolutely.
on.
In which we do. So you guys, I hope you're watching more too. And also, while you're online watching this on Netflix, make sure that you go onto iTunes and you rate and comment and you tell a friend and you follow and you tell us what you like about the show and what we're doing, because we are here keeping the conversation going for you guys, and we want you guys to keep the conversation going too. Keeps the lights on for us here, and give us 5 stars, please. Please. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Grace and Frankie on AfterBuzz TV. I'm your host, Lauren Leonelli. You can find me at Lauren Leonelli on Twitter, Facebook, Vine, Instagram, and my website.
And I'm Jenifer Golden. You can find me all over the place. Jenifer Golden.
All
or
over.
Jen the Jew.
All over.
I'm Lauren Lograsso. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Lolo Logro and Facebook.com/Lauren Lograsso.
And I'm Jillian Fleischman. can find me on Twitter at Jill_Fleischman. Everything else, Instagram, Facebook, everything, Jillian Fleischman.
All right, guys, thanks so much. And don't forget, for every good TV show, there's a better after show. So tune into AfterBuzz TV. See you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.